Kevin, do you know whether I'm on or not? I was going to ask if you had yellow shirts for everybody in the room, but I'm afraid what that answer might be, so I'm not going to ask that.
Well, you do know what time the ball game is.
I have been reminded that there is a ball game to be played sometime this evening, and that we will be through before it starts. I promise you. We have plenty of time. But for those, I'm not sure who's playing. I just know my best friend and his wife are there, and my son called me last night at midnight and told me he was getting on a plane at 5:45 this morning, so he's there too. And I told him, well, I was going to be doing something much more important than watching a ball game at 7 o'clock tonight. I'd like to call this meeting of the Scotland County Board of Commissioners to order. I'd like to ask our Commissioner and Reverend B.J. Gibson if he would do the invocation, please.
Would you bow your heads with me? Our God and our Creator, we thank you for this day, for this opportunity and every opportunity granted unto us to handle the business of this county. We say thank you. We ask for your guidance this evening as we shall move forward, that all that we shall say and do will be done pleasing in your sight. Bless our time together and continue to bless the citizens of our county. For it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Commissioner Gibson. If you would stand with me and face the flag as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to also just say welcome to all of you who are here. I did not introduce myself. My name is Whit Gibson, and I have the honor of being the chairman of this board. We are glad that you are here. We like doing business in the public, and we are just like the fact that you have come to be with us tonight. We have a seventh commissioner, Commissioner Betty Golston, and I believe that Betty was going to join us tonight electronically. She was not feeling well. Jason, is Betty on the line with us? Thank you, Betty. I'm sure you will not let me forget that you're there if I go in the wrong direction. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. We have an agenda in front of us. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Ivey, a second by Commissioner Alford. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Hearing no nays, the agenda is approved. I believe we were going to have a special presentation by Representative Pierce. I do not believe he is in the room yet. We will move forward and we will place him in the agenda once he gets here.
He may not know we moved our time.
He does.
Oh, he did. Oh.
Thank you, Tim, but I'm not going to comment.
I just crossed my mind.
Next on the agenda is the public forum. The public forum is a time for citizens to come forward and express anything that they wish to within reason to the Board of Commissioners. There is a 3-minute time limit, and we ask that you pay attention to that. As you come forward, would you please state your name and your address and your business before us? I think we have the Scotland County Crime Stoppers. Are you going to come forward and speak, please? Names and addresses in the county. I think I know.
Chris Young. Thank you for allowing us to speak with you tonight concerning Scotland Crime Stoppers. My name is Chris Young, and I'm the captain with the Laurinburg Police Department, one of the coordinators of Scotland Crime Stoppers. I am the founder of the Scotland Crime Stoppers program, which is a nonprofit 501c3 that initially began in 2008 as a service to the citizens of Scotland County. We're here tonight asking for help financially from the Board of Commissioners by including us in your budget of $1,000 yearly support. So what is Scotland Crime Stoppers? Scotland Crime Stoppers is an anonymous tip program in which citizens can contact Scotland Crime Stoppers to provide information and tips on crimes and/or wanted individuals. If the provided tip leads to an arrest, The anonymous tipster can receive a cash reward for their information up to $1,000. Citizens do not come forward to law enforcement with information for three basic reasons: fear of retaliation by the criminal, whether real or perceived; fear or apathy about becoming involved; and uncertainty as to the proper procedures and contact within the law enforcement structure, or lack of confidence that the contact within the information would be utilized once given. Scotland Crime Stoppers is a guarantee of information anonymity, combined with monetary incentives for citizens who come forward with information leading to arrest. All of us benefit. A criminal who is taken from the mainstream of our community is not a threat to you, your children, or your business. In a community where citizens work together to solve crimes, the threat of swift, sure punishment serves as a strong deterrent to would-be criminals. Scotland Crime Stoppers relies on three essential elements for the program to operate. One is community, which is the heart of every Crime Stoppers organization. Two is the citizens from the community form the board of directors. Media, which provides publicity concerning unsolved cases and is the essential link between law enforcement and the community. And lastly, law enforcement, which is the coalition of local law enforcement agencies, coordinator and co-coordinators. Law enforcement acts on the tips provided from the community. Scotland Crime Stoppers was organized to promote welfare and lessen the burdens of the government of Scotland County by assisting the Scotland County law enforcement agencies in apprehension and conviction of criminals, by helping develop a community offensive against crime, by motivating members of the public to cooperate with the law enforcement agencies within the County of Scotland and the state of North Carolina, and by providing rewards for such cooperation. Scotland Crime Stoppers is ran by a board of directors, which consists of law enforcement coordinators and community citizens of Scotland County. An executive committee was formed from the board of directors. Being a nonprofit organization, this program is ran from donations, contributions, and fundraising. Scotland Crime Stoppers held raffles as fundraisers where the winner receives security cameras for their home or business. We've established programs such as the Gotcha Camera Program, where citizens can register their security cameras with Crime Stoppers. This registration is known only to two law enforcement personnel, both coordinators, one with the Scotland County Sheriff's Office and the other being myself with the Laurinburg Police Department. Scotland Crime Stoppers will not ask for, nor are we granted access to your cameras, nor is any provided information public. Registering your camera simply means that you're providing law enforcement pre-information that in the event a crime or incident occurs in your community or property, you can provide video evidence to assist law enforcement in identifying those individuals.
Yes, I don't want to interrupt you, but you need to close.
Okay. Let me just jump forward then. We recently established our partner with Anderson Software Company and established a new way of individuals to send tips by just not only the telephone, but you now can send through a mobile app. It's called a P3 Tips. We also have a website, scotlandcountycs.com. So individuals can send tips through the website. They can send tips through the pttips.com program or the phone line. And all of it's 100% anonymous. And real quickly, this is our chairperson, Ron Hux, and I'll let him speak, and then we'll any questions that you might have.
I think he's pretty well covered everything. I joined Scotland County Crime Stoppers because I felt like I could make a difference in helping with the Sheriff's Department, the Police Department, helping with this program and get it going, get as another tool for them to do their job easier.
Do you have some information that has a lot of the stuff that Chris said on there? If you would make sure each of us get one of those, or you can leave it there and we'll just pass it out. That'd be great. And Mr. Hux, do you have a background in law enforcement?
About to get one?
Yeah, we already got it.
Military, okay. Well, we thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Don't go nowhere. Are we gonna get a chance to ask them anything while they're here? Quick question.
Good, quick question.
You said you were requesting $1,000
A year, yes, sir.
for a year. Is that for reward or administration or?
It's any monies raised or donations, contributions, or sponsorship is used for payouts, tip payouts, and basically for the program to run.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else have a
One
question?
question. Are you asking for this one time or annually?
Annually,
Annually.
to include it in your budget if we could.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else have a question? Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Young. No, I'm sorry. My wife thinks she raised him, so. Health Department.
Good evening. The Scotland County Health Department, Social Work Department wanted to come and do a presentation to the board since we were not here the last time. The topic of the increase for social worker salary was presented. Yes, the Scotland County Health Department does have 5 social workers on board. My name is Betsy Ellaby, and I'm the social work supervisor for the Scotland County Health Department. And I've been employed at the Scotland County Health Department. Next month will be 24 years. I'm bringing with me my lead worker, Felicia McCall, been at the health department since 2013, and Miss Sharina Lowry, who has also been with the health department since 2015. We do have another social worker, but she had to leave because she had to pick her child up, but that was a blessing we received. She came to us from Cumberland County, wanted to move back closer to home. So we did receive a social worker that is trained in at least one program. We are still looking for and interviewing candidates for our position that's open. Wanted to give you a little summary of what we do at the Scotland County Health Department. We currently have 3 care management programs that we provide at the health department. The first being the care management for high-risk pregnancies program. The second, the care management for at-risk children's program, and the third being the HIV case management program. Every month, Scotland County Health Department receives monetary reimbursements from 5 prepaid health plans, as well as Community Care of North Carolina for traditional Medicaid recipients. Tim Martin, who's our financial person at the health department, he gave me these numbers. For the year, the care management for high-risk pregnancies program bring in $182,763 to Scotland County. The care management for at-risk children's program bring in a total of $175,563. These are yearly amounts, and these monies are used to offset salaries of the social work department. We recently lost 2 social workers to other counties, one being in October of 2021, and that young lady left to go to Johnston County because her start salary was going to be $7,000 more than what her salary was at the health department for working there 2 years. The other young lady left in January of 2022, and she just jumped right across the county line to Robeson County. Well, that may not seem like a lot of social workers leaving, but when your staff only has 5 social workers, that does put a dent in your team, and it also puts a tremendous amount of work on the social workers that are left. Compared to other agencies, when you have 29 social workers, 29 to our 5, that does make a difference as far as us losing workers. We just want to ensure that it's internal equity with the social workers positions across the entire county. We feel that the health department should not be left out in this increase that was provided for DSS social workers last month. As I said before, when social workers resign, the additional job duties are distributed between myself and the other workers that are left. Additionally, when looking for a social work position at the health department, as of September 1, 2011, all applicants that apply or anybody who we hire, they must have a BSW, a MSW, or have an RN degree.
Ms.
So
Ellery,
that puts specific qualifications on the employee that we're going to hire for the positions. Scotland County's work speaks for itself. We have participated in many pilot programs when changes are made across the entire state of North Carolina. These programs that we are care managing are programs that are not only in Scotland County, but they're in every county of the state of North Carolina.
Ms. Ellerby, I hate to interrupt you, but you need to find a close.
Okay. So in closing, we, like I said previously, we want to ensure that there's internal equity with social worker positions across the county. And we will also request if I may, that the board decide tonight if the social workers at the health department can be included in the increase of, the 10% increase of wages for the work that we're performing here in Scotland County.
Okay. If you don't mind, just staying where you are. Thank you very much for being here. I will tell you, when this board made that decision, following that conversation, it was, we wanted to hear from the health department what their conditions were. We knew it was basically the same. We didn't know the numbers, and we're glad that you're here tonight to provide that to us. I also think in some of the material you provided us, you have, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but have you lost 4 social workers in the last 3 or 4 years?
Yes, we have.
Okay, that, and out of a staff of 5,
Exactly.
which means you've got some who've been here longer than that, but you've got vacancies. Somebody comes, you train them, and they go somewhere else.
And it takes an average of probably 2 full years to get someone fully trained in the job that we do. So you have those 2 years that you invested in a worker for them just to jump to another county, and they're fully trained for that county to pick up and continue where they started.
We understand that. Thank you. Don't leave. Anybody else have a question? I know you're up on the board.
No, my only question is, this is the second time this has come before us, and I don't want us to not do something, but I know the last time we didn't have enough information. Is there additional information that you all think we need? I mean, I know when Ms. Sneed came, she actually had those numbers. Is that something that we need to request of them so that we can make this decision? Kevin, what are your thoughts?
I think most of the information they provided is accurate. I don't know what other information you want to guide your decision.
I'm like, I haven't seen a number. And-
Yeah.
and-
Commissioner, I don't mean to cut you off. We can send that via email, just to not.
Get us
And
that
I was
number.
supported because as the health director, the pressure is on me. So
Oh.
I'm looking at internal equity. If my social worker can get the same as DHS, then that's good. But we can send this data to you.
And I don't think there's been a problem with it. It's just, that's been the issue, is we had to have a firm number.
Sure.
If we make the same decision with the health department, social workers as we did with DSS, what is that dollar amount going to be?
Yeah,
Okay.
not a percentage, dollars. That's what we spend, is dollars.
We'll
So
send that via email.
we need-
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes,
And I do have a question. After the information is obtained by the board, do you know when we will hear anything back from you all, or do we have to wait till the next official commissioners meeting?
Well, we have another meeting in approximately 2 weeks. If we don't take it up tonight, I'm sure we will take it up whatever that date is. Okay.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry, April Sneed. Child Abuse Prevention Month.
Good evening. I'll be brief. April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. And so you typically see our president and our governor proclaim that for the month. And so I'm asking you that you do that for Scotland County. Our staff, of course, has already started their abuse prevention activities and education. So hopefully you'll see some of that throughout the county. And if you'll give me just a moment, I'll read the proclamation. So hopefully you will adopt that for Scotland County as well. Whereas children are vital to our state and county's future success, prosperity, and quality of life, as well as being our most vulnerable assets. And whereas all children deserve to have the safe, stable, nurturing homes and communities they need to foster their healthy growth and development. And whereas child abuse and neglect is a community responsibility, affecting both the current and the future quality of life of a community. And whereas communities that provide parents with social support, knowledge of parenting and child development, and concrete resources they need to cope with stress and nurture their children, ensure all children grow to their full potential. And whereas effective child abuse prevention strategies succeed because of partnerships created among children, human service agencies, schools, faith communities, healthcare providers, civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Scotland County Board of Commissioners that April 2022 is Child Abuse Prevention Month in Scotland County, and urge all citizens, community agencies, faith groups, medical facilities, elected leaders, and businesses to increase their participation in efforts to support families, thereby preventing child abuse and strengthening the communities in which we live. This day of April 4th, 2022.
Thank you. Thank you, April. Anybody have any questions of April? Comments?
We need action. I'll make a motion that we approve the
Yeah.
resolution proclaiming April Child Abuse Prevention Month.
Okay. Prevention or protection?
Prevention.
Okay. Thank you. Prevention. Thank you. We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Gibson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. We will sign that declaration at the conclusion of this meeting. April, thank you. We have a consent agenda in front of us. Do I have a motion to approve that agenda?
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner McCall, a second by Commissioner Alford. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Thank you, Betty. All opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is, if I take 1 second, Garland Pierce is not here with us yet. I think it's time for 'Tis the Season and the Penguins. Name and address, please, ma'am.
Terry Parker, 8521 Exway Road, Gibson, North Carolina.
And Jeannie Pope, 315 West Church Street in Laurinburg.
We're here just to give a really quick overview of what our plans are for this Christmas. It's going to be kind of more robust this year because COVID kind of put a damper on what we've done for the last couple of years. We are going to have the singing Christmas tree again this year. We are going to do the set up the skating rink this year. It'll be in a different place. It's going to be in the A.B. Gibson parking lot right across the street from our shop on Main Street. We're still going to do the decorating of the Christmas trees, the lights, and all of that, the wreaths. But we have some new initiatives that we want to start to just kind of make a little bit different and bring some more excitement to town. The penguins are one of the things. I'm laughing at the look on Garland's face with the penguins. And what is this about? It's just fun. We're going to have probably a couple hundred penguins. They'll be on Church Street, Main Street. We've already gotten permission from DOT to put some, how tall is it? 40 feet? No, 20 feet. 20 feet penguins on the exits of 74, 401, and 501. Yeah,
4 to 6.
yeah, big ones. And then they're going to put them on the electronic billboards on 74, starting the 1st of November. Follow the penguins, Laurinburg. And you're just going to see penguins start showing up just to get people talking about what's going on with penguins in Laurinburg. Just fun. So, who does the
Who does the magic? There we go.
We'll go over this really quick. Next, yeah. This year we're doing a community multi-church live activity, and we've had 3 meetings so far. I think we have about 20 some churches involved. It's going to be on Railroad Street. It's going to be 0.6 of a mile long. It's called Follow the Star, and it is going to absolutely be awesome. We're going to bring in sand. It's going to be a market that's going to be about 0.3 of a mile, an open air market with live animals. Then you're going to hit the walls of Bethlehem like that. St. Andrews is loaning us all their night uniforms. You'll go through that. Then the tax collector will stop the cars, and you don't have to pay. We're just counting the number. That's the way we're going to be counting the numbers in the cars. And then you'll go through the different scenes of the Christmas story. And that's going to be the last weekend before Christmas, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night from 5 to 8. And it will be a drive-through. And that's going to be lots of fun. We're also we haven't come up with a title yet. It's going to be a trip to the North Pole. It's going to be indoor, hopefully in one of the buildings downtown. But basically, children will be able to come in, start from Scotland County, and they will walk to the North Pole. And as they walk, the building will be dark with overhead lights. The trees will be, just green forest. We've got animated bears. And then as you get further along, the trees are going to be flocked with snow because as you get closer to the North Pole, it snows. We will have polar bears, lots of live elves. We are getting very involved with the school system, and they're heavily involved. We met with them this morning. It's going to be lots of fun. They're going to be painting some of the backdrops. We've bought already some animatronic animals, and then they'll as they end, they will be able to visit Santa Claus. That's going to be really fun. And you can start.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
And the end goal with this, and we're going to go through the follow the penguins. We're going to follow the hook on that too. But the end goal is really to have people stay and come and be the destination point at Christmas. You know, we need people to not leave town. A lot of young families leave and go visit other things and do other things. And so all these events is really to have kind of this open marketplace, but also this open place where we are hanging out and spending money in town along the route in town. So you see just a few images here: food trucks, blocked off streets, seating, night movies going on downtown, ornaments, things that people can engage with and be part of during Christmas downtown. I want to have you hop back over. We're also looking to secure a trolley that it can be used not only during this period, but really year round. There's so many likes for this, not only just simply the simple ones that are easy ones like rentals for weddings and things like that, but we've had a number of conversations with St. Andrews. Maybe that trolley's back and forth uptown. It could be where tourists come and stay for the weekend, or they stay for that Saturday night before they head to the beach, that morning dead time where they could use it to go to some of the historic sites in town or wineries. There's just a lot of things we can do with this as well. I'm going to go on to the next one. And then let me show you our drive. So the hook of the penguins, follow the penguins. You see, we have so many people here already. This is what we want y'all to see in this summer on that electronic, but we want the rest of the state to see it. There's a lot of traffic going through. We want to create a buzz. We want to create a social media buzz as well around the penguins. I'm going to hit you okay. And then when we get Thanksgiving, so from Thanksgiving to New Year's, we want an electronic drive from the front of St. Andrews on the Dogwood Mile, coming back out near Tractor Supply, and then saying, follow the penguins uptown to Santa Land or whatever we're going to call it, and continue to have people here in town. We're gonna, so the front of it, you can see as it's kind of going away, we really want to focus on our southernness. We want to focus on Scotland County, but we just want it also to be really fun and really to be something different. And we're a good hour away from any drive around. So Merry Christmas, y'all, and this flock of penguins. Let's go on through to the next. And these are just a few of the scenes as we go through. It's lights, it's more penguins, and you're going to see this throughout. Polar bears, but all kinds of things, all kinds of images that you think of with Christmas. But you see there's some cutouts here. We also can't purchase everything because the budget's crazy for these things. So we want the community involved with making a number of them. And you'll see, Noel, you'll see as you come around on this one. Head on through one more for me, please. Charlie Brown Christmas, all these things, all the favorite movies that you're like, what are your favorite ones? We want those images up, and they are going to be, so we've got a prototype back here of the Grinch, and he's stealing the lights off the tree. But each one of these are scenes, and he's 6 feet. We can get up to 8 feet on a piece of plywood. And we have some empty space downtown. We want for the next 2 months to have really Santa's workshop. And we've got a number of people already volunteered to lead these teams where we're cutting out, we're painting, we're prepping up this material for this drive-through. So it's not all electric, but it is things that we can see everybody joining in and being part of making and then delighting in it at Christmas. We're just going to run on Loch Ness. We've got St. Andrews, why not? And we've also it's really great. We're working with a number of teams so far. She's talked about the school district, but also RCC and the local shops, the machine shops, to see how many of these things we can really develop and create here in town. Because a number of these electronic things are tens of thousands of dollars. So let's put that money back into our community and let's see if we can develop some of this. So Nessie, you'll also see an outline of the state of North Carolina with the heart at Scotland County. We've seen that already. We've seen home, but we haven't seen it in a Christmas light show. We also are playing from all ages and all kind of demographics. So definitely playing up on Star Wars and other movie themes that are holiday or not necessarily holiday, but just kind of cheeky. And then we want to make sure we're pulling in the community because we know we are absolutely better together. And if you didn't know that before now, definitely after COVID, we figured that out. So we want one where it's just all silhouettes of different people of ages and ethnic groups that are in our community. And maybe that can even be something that is, we have maybe a drawing or a contest where people are recommending people to be on that and then giving them those silhouettes at the end of the season. Also maybe a big dream catcher to honor the Native Americans in our community. Military, we have all of those are represented in this room right now, and I could name them off. I'm looking at them, and so we want to make sure we're just telling people who we are, especially if they're coming in. We want people to come in from south of us, all around, outside of these counties, and we just wanted to show them who we are as well. And these are just a few other scenes. We've got locals that have already said, hey, we'll set up a whole scene of tractors and hopefully planes and other things to help fill this space up. Definitely for sponsorships and donations. We would love one of the weekends. We're really seeing right now, this is a free drive, but asking for donations at the end. But we can also see one weekend having everybody who comes through saying, this is the weekend you bring canned food for everybody who's in your car. And we fill up our pantries here for Scotland County as well. And then we keep going up. We're moving them back uptown. So that strip between St. Andrews and all the way uptown, there are restaurants. There's places to stop and eat, get gas and shop, and then to hang out downtown for a while. Make Scotland County your destination instead of everybody else leaving. It's not just fun. Economically, we want to keep the money in our county. And that just gives you a sense of that.
Okay.
That's a quick overview. And you have a pamphlet that shows just a quick overview of that. And it's also in that packet is a one pager of all the things that tis the season is helping to initiate and to move forward in this county as well.
Thank you very much for your information. And what you have sent us has a lot more information on it. I'm sure all the commissioners have read that, and it's pretty complete. Thank you very much.
And hey, everyone, thank you for coming. We really appreciate it.
Our county attorney, Mr. Johnston, just wanted to make a comment in regard to this, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like a wonderful project. And I don't want to be the Grinch that stole Christmas by any means, but I think this sort of highlights the potential issues we may be dealing with as a board on a regular basis when we're dealing with the ARP funds. Up to this point, the board, I think, has clearly used ARP funds for governmental purposes.
For those of you who may not know, the ARP fund is the American Rescue Plan. Some of the money that's come to the local governments through COVID relief.
Which is probably the fund that would be looked at for this.
Eddie, I also offer that we have already spoke with Brian Graham, Parks and Rec, about partnering to do some of these events with them for the community under the umbrella of Parks and Rec.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
in general, though,
Thank you, Ms. Paul.
As to the board, the ARP funding is federal funds, and if this is going to be the source of the funds that you use for not just this project, but a number of others that you're going to be hearing about, you clearly have the authority, not only with the federal regulations, but also with the state regulations to do things like you've done with employee benefits and things that are standard, pretty much governmental operations. The ARP funding, as of February, the Congress passed very, very loose regulations as to how that money may be spent. You have, I wouldn't say unfettered, but pretty close, as Mr. Patterson would probably tell you on that, since we get less than $10 million of that. But there's a second layer of regulations, and those are state statutes that you have to deal with. So as to not only this request, but other requests that you may receive, the board's going to have to scrutinize each request and with legal counsel to determine whether the particular request meets the two-prong test of being for a public purpose and also serving basically the public as a whole. I'm not saying this to pour cold water on this application. It very well may meet the requirements, but I think you have quite a bit of money from the ARC funds to spend. The board needs to be careful as we go through this process to spend them in accord with not only federal regulations, but also state statute.
But that caution is not unique to 'tis the season. It is to any request that
It
we
is
get.
not,
Okay.
and it applies to the request that was made for $1,000 during the
Mr. Chairman,
early part of the process.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd just like to comment. Last Monday and Tuesday, I was sitting in Greensboro at the Funding Strategy Summit for the American Rescue Funds and the opioid settlement. And the many sessions that I attended on compliance, this is not the regulations. This is the 25-page PowerPoint. The regulations come in big books. And the message was that, we're glad that we have this money, but we've got to be extremely judicious in how we spend it. And we've got two levels of government that we've got to comply to. And I spoke to Mr. Johnson right after I got back from that, like, oh, no, how do we do this? And they say, rely on your attorney to guide you so that mistakes are not made when you are funding various projects. And that message is for all 100 counties in North Carolina. Just wanted to add to what Mr. Johnson was saying, that, as commissioners, we have a wonderful opportunity, but what comes with that is a great deal of responsibility.
Okay, thank you both. I did not know those comments were going to be made, so I will just say to y'all, I don't think this is unique to your request. I know that we've had many requests in the last several months, and we have I don't want to say obligated, but we've talked about how we were going to spend the money that we've gotten from the American Rescue Plan. Some of it has gone to what we believe is important to provide salaries for our workers so we can be competitive. And we know that we have lost a lot of staff, whether it's social workers or law enforcement officers or EMT workers. And I'm sure in all departments, we're losing folks to surrounding counties because we train them and they cherry pick who they want. So that is a concern that we have. We have many concerns in our county. I don't have to tell you that. The problems that we're facing. But I applaud all of the folks who have come before us with their request. And I think that 'tis the season several years ago did a remarkable job of uplifting this county in a time when we were all kind of needing a lift. And I think you brought an enthusiasm and excitement that we have benefited from since the very beginning. And I hope that you will be able to do everything on your list, whether we help you or not. And I have great belief that this county has supported many, many efforts that government has not necessarily taken the helm for. So I appreciate. Yeah.
Are you all requesting the entire 294? That is not your request.
No, we were just situational awareness of.
Jerry, if you don't mind, if you step to the microphone.
No, that was just letting you know what the costs were. We're going to fundraise it. We're going to get grants, but whatever y'all see fit, if you have something that you can help us with, we would be grateful. We'll leave that up to your judgment, and we realize that you have a lot to do. Just want to put our request in.
You want to give us the opportunity to help if you can.
That's right.
And would it be correct if I say you're not particularly concerned about what pot of money it come from, you just need support?
That is correct.
Okay.
That's a good way to say that. I was trying to figure out how to say that.
Okay.
Thank y'all so much.
Okay, John, the elephant has spoken in the room.
Thank you. I know we have a lot of yellow shirts in the audience, and we have a We have much more business and you are more than welcome to stay. But we don't want you to sit here and drift out one at a time. If you want to leave at this point, now is a good opportunity for you to leave. And as much as we would love for you to leave your penguins with us, you can take those with you when you go, or leave them and come back and get them. And come back and get them. Okay. Yeah, well.
Yeah, that was kind of we got creative with giving others.
Yeah.
We took whatever, give it to EMS and take that out of their budget. There's ways to do it. Yeah.
We got to give them something.
You got to do something.
Just downtown, we got to give them some money.
Tourism.
Heavy. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. After that brief interlude, at this time, excuse me, Dr. McCallum, if you don't mind, I'm going to take just a minute and let Representative Pierce come forward. He was on the agenda earlier. At this time, I'll recognize our Representative Garland Pierce.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Sorry I'm late. I was home eating supper. Sorry about that.
Well, we decided that you may have thought we were starting at 7 o'clock, but okay, go ahead.
I'm just glad to be here tonight and just wanted to just come. I know that you've already hopefully got the check, but I just want to come once again to thank the commissioners for coming to Raleigh to advocate on behalf of this county. And because of your presence there in the presence of the Speaker of the House, we were able to bring at least over $2 million to the county, $1 million for the city of Laurinburg for the fire department, and $1 million for the county for the 2 recreation centers. And I was thinking about it while driving in, that would put Wagram, Laurel Hill, and the city of Laurinburg with facilities that they can use. So it was just great leadership on y'all's behalf. And I just thank y'all for all that you're doing. And please continue to speak with me on any matter that I might can help within Raleigh. We've got a short session coming up, and the speaker made me aware that there's probably some more opportunities. So if you guys could think of anything, just let me know, because we still got a little money on the table. So I hope that I can be of more service to the county going forward. This was just a good opportunity for the county. So I know that you can't cash this one, but you can just look at it. This is what it's going to look like when you do get it. So I just thank y'all for allowing me just to be a part of this. Thank you for coming to Raleigh. Yeah.
Well, we thank you very much, and I know that Senator McInnes also was very active in speaking for us, and we thank you for all your long-term service for us. And having known you for a while and getting an email for you fairly regularly, I assume that you would like to have a picture taken with you delivering that to someone.
I would, yeah. Yeah.
Do you mind
that
Clarence,
picture?
yeah.
Do you like that picture with the penguins or without?
Yeah. They might want some of this money, so I don't know what to say about that. But yeah, if y'all can just give a little bit of time to that. Thank you. Anybody else? Come on, please.
Anyone who would like to step up here, please.
Yeah, I'd like to step up.
I guess we all go.
Come on.
Yes.
The paper checking.
Let's hear what you rest.
I know that there were several of you who were present that day. All of you got.
He got it, but he had to leave.
Everybody. Smile, baby.
All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right.
Thank you, guys. I get to help my partners in ministry. She's watching me tonight. Thank you, guys. God bless you.
You put that to work.
It's the footings or skirting around mobile homes. It's currently masonry only.
Dr. McCallum, if you would come make the presentation, please.
Concrete materials, they want to change it to masonry.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Melba McCallum, Executive Director of Partners in Ministry. And I thank you for the opportunity to be with you this evening. Partners in Ministry is an out-of-school service support of our public school students by helping them close the academic achievement gap of our elementary and middle school students through our STEMS program, our strengthening students with science, technology, engineering, and math, as well as our high school students, our Youth Empowered to Succeed, preparing them for the workforce. Like a short video of just a very short video of one of the teachers that just recorded her classroom and some of the things that they are doing. If we can show that video quickly. Okay, that is just a short little video of some of the activities that's going on at the center. With the disruption in schooling due to COVID-19, there are additional issues around increased learning loss and social and emotional development due to students being quarantined at home. The social and emotional development is a developmental process that begins at birth and evolves across the lifespan. It is a process through which children and adolescents and adults learn 5 key competencies to support healthy development and relationships. Self-awareness, understanding their emotions and their thoughts and their values. being able to manage those emotions, those thoughts and behaviors effectively in different situations to achieve their goals and their aspirations. Social awareness, having compassion for others and understanding the social norms for behaviors in different settings. Maintaining health and supportive relationships, the capacity to communicate clearly, listen actively, work collaboratively, and to solve problems and negotiate conflicts constructively. And then finally, making constructive decisions and choices about personal behavior and social interactions and the consequences of those actions. Research indicates that these 5 competencies promote academic achievement and positive life outcomes, and that these competencies have been compromised due to COVID-19, the pandemic. The AARP funds will be used for intervention services during out-of-school time, which will provide access to enrichment opportunities that will help youth with the social and emotional competencies. Opportunities will be available for students to discover and cultivate their passion and talent through project-based learning, hands-on activities, enrichment activities, social and cultural excursions, road trips to work sites to help them understand that the projects that they're doing right at Partners in Ministry and how they can apply those projects to the real world of work. You know, they're doing those kinds of things at the center, but now how does that apply to the real world? And so these are the kinds of things that we're going to be looking at in and out of the county, trips to deepen their exposure beyond the local community. The request for $100,000 with at least 300 in-school and out-of-school youth equates to $333 per child and only $28 of social and emotional learning monthly activities. Secondly, the COVID pandemic has also presented a challenge for our transportation services. 4 of the 8 vehicles are out of service and have not been in operation since October 2021. The repair shop says that it is almost impossible for us to get those parts due to the pandemic. They're just not coming in. The parts are not coming in. Our transportation service is tied to our year-round out-of-school youth and young adult services. We use the buses in advance to pick up our students Mondays through Thursdays, on the weekends when the school's on break. And parents then come back to pick the youth up at the end of the day with us. But since the pandemic, parents are saying we need you to now bring the kids home as well. And so, of course, with that increases the need for vehicles, increases the need for the time that the drivers are out. So therefore, we're requesting that. Our vehicle request is $105,000, $35,000 towards the purchase of one 15-passenger vehicle, and then the cost of a second 15-passenger vehicle. Our total request for ARP funds is $205,000.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Any questions of Dr. McCollum? Thank you, ma'am. Just 1 second. Do you need to go? Okay. Commissioner Gibson asked previously if he could be excused at this time. He has a pastoral obligation he needs to tend to. Thank you, BJ. Next on the agenda, the zoning ordinance. Mr. Johnston and probably Mr. McMillan later. I don't know.
Mr. Chairman, I'll just briefly say that this is the culmination of a lot of work by the Planning and Zoning Board. As this board knows well, we have had and still do have at part one of the oldest zoning ordinances in the state, as well as subdivision ordinance. Planning and Zoning Board has labored mightily to try to update that. The board itself passed a portion of the revisions that were required statewide, so the board has already done that. The items that are coming before you now are those remaining things that would primarily bring us into conformity with statewide recognized definitions and processes. I think, given the many hours that Mr. McMillan and his group have spent on this, I would probably defer to him to bring up anything in particular that he feels is important to emphasize to the board.
I thought he was going to tell you that he had spent as much time on this as he allowed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Johnson, Commissioners. I was not anticipating speaking tonight, but I will reiterate what Ed has said. The board has worked mightily on this along with the Council of Government. We do, as mentioned in our previous meeting, have some changes that we know we will have to make over time, but these are part of the benefits that we have as a board, that we don't have to make those changes immediately to present the amended ordinances to you for approval. We can take care of that over time. Mr. Manager, I know you did send Brooke something today, and we will address that one item with the manufactured homes.
Yes.
Took me a little research, but I understand what you're talking about now. But I do appreciate the opportunity that we've had to work on all of this. I am grateful that it's almost over. I think a lot of us are tired. We're ready to get it involved in going on to something else. So with that being said, I'll leave it in the good hands of the county commissioners.
Okay, thank you. Chairman McMillan, we just from this board, we appreciate all the work of you and the Planning and Zoning Board because there's been a lot of work in this. I know you've been working on it for a considerable period of time. You've had some late night meetings, a lot of conferences and meetings that in conjunction with the Council of Government. And we just appreciate all that you've done.
Thank you.
And we also know that there's more work to do. And we know that you are not going to quit in the middle of this,
Nope.
that you're going to get this, we're going to get it right all the way to the end. And we do appreciate that.
The board has already been warned that we will be having additional meetings.
I had one of your members come up to me last Thursday night and said, if I had known what y'all were pointing me to, I'm not sure I would have accepted it. But it's a lot of work, and it's one of the more important boards that we've got. We appreciate all of our board and all of our board members, but certainly we appreciate you and your efforts on this.
I'll pass that on to the board. Thank
Please
you very
do that.
much.
Thank you.
There is one item that had a discussion with zoning officials today. Right now, and this was something that just wasn't caught until later on. Under our current zoning ordinance, for a double wide or for a modular home, you have to have masonry foundation. I mean, not masonry skirting around the outside. A single wide still can have any skirting appropriate to the building. The language in this in Article 12, Section T is as on the top, and it just extends that same through it. The recommendation is that we keep the permanent masonry foundation and curtain wall and this would apply to double wides and modular homes only. This does not apply to single wide homes.
Okay.
It's also beneficial for the homeowner from the standpoint of being able to have this property classified as real property as opposed to personal property, because it's converted from movable to a permanent foundation. The other thing I would mention to the board, which is unrelated to what the manager has mentioned, is that probably for 35 or 40 years, we have had an exception in Scotland County for divisions of property that are greater than 5 acres. So if you had a 20-acre tract out in the country and you divided it into a little acreage of 5 per unit, that it's not required to have formal subdivision compliance. That was a local act that was passed many years ago. That act is still in place. I think I've mentioned this to the board before. If the board desires to leave it in place, it is permissible to do so. If you prefer to go with the acreage amount that is applicable statewide, it would be 10 acres. If you're unsure of which you prefer, I would suggest that we leave it at 5 for the time being, because we have the protection of the local act. And if we go to 10 and then we decide to go back to 5, then we'll have to have another local act to do that.
If we don't do anything, the local act of 5 acres will stand. We don't have to do anything.
No, the act is actually enabling legislation that enables the board to pass the 5+ acre exception, which the board many years ago did, and that's not been changed. If you want to use the 5 acre standard instead of the 10, then you probably need to be sure that that's part of what you approve.
Mr. McMillan, would it be, as best you know, the position of the planning and zoning to stay with that 5 acre?
The discussions the board has had in numerous meetings where we've come up with this issue has been, yes, the board would prefer to stay with 5. That's the standard that's been used, and the board has not seen any reason to change it other than legal issues the state was asking.
Okay, thank you. Did we, help me refresh my memory, what action, my recollection is that when we met a couple of weeks ago, we did not vote on this.
Right, you conducted a public hearing.
We had the public hearing.
Input on it, but did not vote.
And the period of time that it needed to remain open has passed.
Right.
So it would be appropriate this time to entertain a motion to approve.
Subject to the 2 modifications, if that's what was desired.
Okay, to approve,
Yeah.
to approve the recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Board that have been published and that had the public hearing for back a couple of weeks ago. Okay.
Subject to very minor modifications.
Subject to the 2 modifications, one having to do with skirting
The other having to do with the definition of subdivision.
and the other, okay. I would entertain that motion.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second. Any other discussion?
This is what I don't know how I feel about that change. Because that bottom that's going to make a substantial difference in the cost to somebody that's doing that. I get the curtain and all that. I agree with that, but the masonry part, I don't know. That's a substantial increase when you talk about bricking underneath one. And most people are going to probably do that anyway at some point, but I don't know. I'm not saying I'm against. I don't know how I feel about it.
And this is our current standard.
The bottom.
The bottom one is our current standard. The new language left that out.
Okay. So we're not changing.
So we're not changing.
Okay. All right. Then
Okay. Any other discussion? We have the motion and a second. Hearing no other discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Thank you again, sir.
Thank you.
COVID update, Dr. Caldwell and staff.
Good evening. I'm going to be leaving April 12th. It's going to be my last day. But I wanted to make some transition before I leave.
I thought you were leaving on April the 12th.
Oh, no, we canceled that. We didn't tell you that.
I don't like a vacuum in the leadership, so I always like to make transition before I leave. And I feel like my nursing director will be able to give you the information I'm giving to you. So I invited her today to present, so she get familiar with the system. I'm not leaving you totally. I'm going to be at the background. I'm going to be accessible to her. So I'm not going to be employed here, but I'll be accessible to her. So
Hello, and I'm Donna Page. I'm the Director of Nursing at the Scotland County Health Department, and past 2 years, what can I say about COVID? I do come bearing good news, though. Our county transmission level is low, and we haven't had a death since mid-February, COVID-related death, so that's great.
It's great.
Like 11 positives in the last 2 weeks. So we're always moving in the right direction now. Across the state, well, across the nation, some states have had an increase, an uptick in their numbers, but the hospitalizations are still going down. And that's the Omicron BA2 variant is like 60% of the cases that are out there right now. But again, it is a subvariant of the first one, so it doesn't seem to hospitalize people. They just get cold-like symptoms. So we're in a good place right now. Our early warnings are based on wastewater testing and people in their stool. They release the virus into the wastewater, so testing is done across the state for wastewater amounts. And so those levels are low. Hospital admissions are low. ER visits are low. So it's all good. Our vaccine rates, 1 dose across the county, 61%. So that's good. Fully vaccinated is 47%. 65 and over is probably like 95%. So our older population, vaccine still remains the way to go. There is a second booster dose if anybody wants it. If you're over 50 or you're immunocompromised, you can get your booster dose. Our Legion site has scaled its hours back now to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to 6. And that is vaccines and testing site.
I'm sorry, that's vaccines and testing. Okay.
And they're probably averaging about 12 vaccines a week at that site. So now it's 3 days a week. We tested in the past 2 weeks, 325 people, and there were only 11 positives out of that. That's pretty good.
You tested 300 people at that site.
Well, across the county, everybody that was tested. So our positivity rate's like 3%. So that's great news. And before I leave, I'd like to say this is National Public Health Week. So please remember all your public health people out there in the world and across the state and the nation that our public health infrastructure is a little broken. So we do need to get back on our feet again. So just keep us in your thoughts and your prayers as we try to get away from this. Hopefully, maybe one day you can decide you don't need this COVID update soon.
That would be a good day, wouldn't it?
Anybody have any questions?
Thank you for everything.
All right.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
A couple citizens called me concerning the deadline, which was 31st on the vaccine cards. Y'all understand y'all have cards left.
Yes, and I think I have communicated that to the county manager. So I'm waiting for the decision to come down as to what we can do with that. But we do still have some cards that are left behind.
Do you know how many you have left?
It's
When we can, it's 1,000.
yeah, 1,000. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is that this week? I mean,
Last week.
last week.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And I just wanted to say thank you for your support, and I'm leaving your county in good hands. The virus is way lower. So my hope is that things will move in that direction. I appreciate everything, the opportunity you give me to serve you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did you have any other question?
I just want to know, are we gonna be able to extend it from 31st maybe to another month?
Okay. I think we can take that up. We can actually do it right now if you want to. Dr. Caldwell, first, just thank you for your service. You were here at a very difficult time, and we appreciate your work with the health department. And Ms. Page, we appreciate all that you and all of that department has done. Y'all like probably more than most folks have been under the gun from all of this, and we appreciate your putting yourself in that danger and that jeopardy, and also just the good work that y'all have done to protect all of us. Thank you. Okay.
Two things, and one of them goes to that. I thought it was, because I think I made the motion or changed the motion that we let it run through today at least, so it didn't overlap. And because we knew our meeting was the 4th. So because anyway, we had originally talked about the 31st, but can't we
I think we can
continue that program until the cards run out instead of?
And well, and even if maybe we can continue it to a date, and if we run out before then, we can certainly get.
It's easy to continue until a date or until the funds are exhausted.
You just want to do it until the funds are exhausted?
Right, that's,
But now that's not all the funds, right? The cards that's already there is not the limit on the funds.
We authorized 158,000
200.
or whatever it was. What did we?
I'd have to look, but I know right now the cards that we have purchased is, and I've got this later on, but the cards that we've purchased were about, we purchased $100,000 worth of cards. It was not the full amount,
Right.
but these are just excess cards.
But so are we talking about continuing it to the cards the 1,000 that he said he had, right? Still left, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Not buying any more, just continuing with those. And was one question. Then I have another totally separate question.
Well, does the second question affect the decision we make on the first one?
No, has nothing to do with that.
Do you want to make the motion that we extend it through the use of the current cards?
yes, I'd like to make
I'll second.
So,
Second by Commissioner McCall. Any discussion on that? All in favor of that signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say Betty, you're in favor of that? Thank you, ma'am. Any opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Tim.
The only other thing I had, since Dr. Caldwell's leaving next week, and while we're in session, do we need to appoint somebody as an acting as of that day? I know we did last time.
That would be the Board of Health. Board of Health is going to meet this Thursday.
I thought we appointed you last time.
You,
If I'm not mistaken.
it's
I know we
just
did.
understanding that that they appoint, but it is the Board of Health.
Okay. All right. I just thought we'd do it while we were here. So.
Yeah, that was good pickup. Anything else? Health, COVID related?
But with that, you're right. The board is meeting this, I believe, this Thursday. And they did reach out to other potential people to serve as interim health directors and then not. So the current concept is that they will appoint me as interim health director effective the 12th.
Okay. Alice Johnson report.
Okay, with Alice Johnson report, and again, this is also where we did receive a grant of $500,000 for this project. The roof contract has already been let. I don't have a time schedule on that. We have already hired an engineer that we're starting with. We are currently working on the gym area, which is going to be phase one. Looking at the primary entrance, which would actually be off of what was the bus loop, not entering the gym, but right here. So Parks and Recreation counter, and then renovation of the gym space. We have also gone ahead and the asbestos abatement for these two buildings actually should be completed hopefully by next week. After that, we will wind up demolishing with county staff these two buildings. And because of the change in use, we will need to increase the amount of parking because right now there's a total of 60 parking spaces in this building. But what the concept is this will become a primary parking for it, and because that also gives you the direct access to the recreational space and also the meeting space, which is going to be in this area as well. So that's going to be your most used parking area. So that is moving along in here. And then also this week, I will be meeting with several of the departments, looking at the space for potential phase 2.
Now, Kevin, that white section, that's roof, right?
Yes, sir.
I know, I know the school, I'm just.
I can't get it off.
You're not used to looking at it from 300 feet.
That's the library, right?
Yes.
Why does that look so ragged?
Because of the shadows from the trees.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And we will wind up removing the vast majority of the trees
Yeah,
from
they
that
gotta
property.
get, yeah. Well, what's the yellow behind the roof?
That's just where I highlighted that
Okay.
roof so you can see that's what
Okay.
we're looking to do.
Okay.
The rest of the roof will have some repair work, but it is in decent shape. It just has 3 years worth of tree growth in certain places. We've also already started work on some of the roof drains, some of the plumbing issues in the building. So that is ongoing. And we're working also with contractors, not only for the renovation, but we're also going to be working with a flooring contractor looking at the gym, find out if that floating floor, that gym floor, can be renovated, or if it will be better to go off and put a new athletic floor on top of it. But there are some other issues around the edge of the building and some other things that will have to be addressed there.
Okay. Any questions?
Laurel Hill Community Center is still going on, and again, we also received an additional $500,000 for this project, which was also sorely needed because of the estimates came in significantly higher than originally budgeted, but nowhere near as high as it could have. Our contractor said he bid something a week later than this one, and his estimates increased 30% a week almost. So it was amazing timing. And he may have been saying that to make himself feel better. I'm sure it's everything.
Or to
else.
make us not feel bad.
Yeah. But with that, they finally did get some of the roofing membrane in, and they were stacking that for foul weather, but that project is still going on time. They're still expecting by June to actually have it looking like a building. So at that point in time, everything's going to be happening inside, which means everybody's going to complain. You're not doing anything, but interior work is always the slowest part.
Any questions? Any comments?
Where's that pickleball court going? Right there?
It is going to be this is actually, the pictures are kind of left to right, but it is actually going to the right of the building, in between the existing parking lot and the baseball field.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So the other side of this picture.
Yeah. You'll see on the right-hand picture, the far right side, that's the existing building. Originally, if that building was demolished, it was going to go there. We actually moved it further to the right.
To the right of the building?
Yes.
Okay. Next item, boards and appointments.
The three matters. One, Southeastern Community Action Corporation. According to its policies, I have to come off the board this time. And they've asked that this board appoint someone from Scotland County. Does not have to be a commissioner, can be. They just asked if that person would have some similar background to mine so that it wouldn't just be a member and could.
Do you have someone in mind that you are recommending?
Well, everybody on this board.
Everybody on this board except you.
Except me.
Do we need to do it tonight, John, or can we consider it and then do it next month?
Next month, yeah. But I have to come off. This is a state recommendation. When it went from 4 county to this, that board members don't stay on like they had been on from 1965 until it was dissolved. So,
And tell me what this is again,
so-
southeast?
yeah, community, it was community action. It's just recently changed. We changed our name to Southeastern Community. What used to be 4 county.
Okay.
Okay. And I've been on there for,
You've been
like,
on there for about 25 years or something.
well, no, that's a council of government, but I've been on this board a long time as well.
Okay.
And they have to abide by their policy. I have to come.
So we can tell people if they're interested.
Pardon?
When does your board meet? How often? Once a month?
Once a month.
And yeah.
And they meet and normally Lumberton.
And is it on the same night each month?
Not really.
Okay. Are you, and
A very active board
are
and
you suggesting that it be a member of the county commission, or is it not really necessary for that?
it's not necessary, but I'd like to see Tim here, sir. He would be a great asset to that board. They're looking for folk who can. Yeah.
Mr. Ivy, you have been nominated.
I'm not going to deny it, but I mean, I'm not.
You had to think about it.
Yeah, you just first I heard of
Well,
it.
Tim, and honestly, would you like to kind of find out more about it?
Well, I'd say, can we start it in May?
Well, you can miss a meeting. Yeah.
Well, my April is slinging.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But
I might be on
Okay.
to April. I'm not sure of the
we have
exact
a
month.
motion and a second. We have a motion by Commissioner Alford, a second by Commissioner McFadder. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And I noticed Commissioner Ivy voted aye. Anybody vote, any opposed say nay? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Ivy, for being willing to do that.
Next, I think we received a call today. It may have been from the state. Our the Board of Equalization and Review. We have allowed them to appoint their own chairman over the years, and that is not correct. This board must do that, and we have to do it tonight. We need a chairman that we could, whoever doing it, we could still vote for that person. I didn't find out this in time to contact anybody, but who is the chairman as we
I
speak?
believe, Mary Helen Morton was chairman last year, and she is currently a member.
Okay. My recommendation would be that we appoint her as chairman.
I obviously don't know how to do this any differently. Our county attorney had some question about that.
Oh, okay.
My question related, I thought someone had said that she is either serving in some interim capacity or in some fashion similar to what she had served. And I think you should be careful with the Board of ENR that they not come in either with any prejudice or bias or anything that looks like there might be a conflict of interest.
Okay.
Well, that could be a case for her entire membership.
That's true, but this is the first time we've heard about this coming up. But I think last year she was definitely not active with the tax office in any way that I know of.
Right.
So it might not have been a
Just
problem.
since the
then,
new
but
tax.
I think that the board should be careful that they're, and I don't think this board has many applications from what I've heard. I think it's a very limited number, but they do allow people to walk in for whatever period is covered, so there may be a few more. But I think you should be careful to have a board that doesn't even appear to have any particular slant on any given topic.
It appears that there are a couple on here, John Ferguson being one, that has been on there for a couple of years already. I would I would offer the motion that John Ferguson be appointed as the chairman.
Do you withdraw your motion? Didn't you make the motion for Mary?
Yes, I had made the motion. I will second that motion.
But
Okay,
you
well-
withdraw your.
I withdraw the previous motion.
Thank you, sir. Having withdrawn that motion, the chair would make the motion to appoint John Ferguson as the chairman of the ENR. And I believe we have a second to that motion by John Alford.
Yeah.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you.
And we, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that there should be real thought given to, under the current circumstances, if Ms. Norton is serving in some fashion, and that Kevin may know what exactly she's doing, is she interim or a council to them, or
She is a part-time employee
of the tax
of the
office?
in the tax office.
Would
Well-
that disqualify her from being on this board or make it unethical or inappropriate for her to be on this board?
I think a decision that was adverse to a taxpayer, if it were appealed, it might give someone an argument anyway. That has not been heard by a impartial board.
So we could take action to remove her from the board and replace her maybe with that third one that we had at the, I forget the name. of the lady.
Tina Smith.
Tina Smith.
So we wouldn't have to go out.
She's certainly well qualified, there's no question.
No,
she
I don't,
knows.
I'm
It's
just, I don't want to have a
Just
conflict
to
there.
sanitize the process.
Right.
That would be an easy way of rectifying.
Well, then that'll be my motion.
And the motion to be that we would remove Mary
Mary
Helen
Helen.
as a member of that board.
Right, and replace her with
Tina Smith.
Tina Smith. You still have her information.
I do, because I just sent her a letter today, told her, I'm sorry that we did not pick you to be on, for being on.
Just send another one back and say,
Call her tomorrow before she gets that letter. All right, we have a motion and, sorry, we have a second by Commissioner McFadden. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Thank you. The ayes have it. Someone, Kevin, please deliver that information to Mary Helen in the manner in which it has nothing to do with her competency, just keeping the Board of NR in good standing and making sure we didn't put ourselves in a position.
And maybe ask Jason to contact that Smith lady and clarify what's going on. So she doesn't think we've lost our mind, because I know they have a meeting approaching this week or early next week. So,
I'm pretty sure she has an email address.
okay,
I think my email will get there before the letter.
okay.
Okay.
I hope I have her contact information.
Yeah, Mr. Alford, you have one more, I think.
One more, and that is the Planning and Zoning Board. In a couple of months, we will have 4 positions of just two? Oh, okay, I was trying to get more on that board. We'll have 2. So we are now taking application for those 2 positions. So we can remind folk to apply if they wish to serve.
Okay. Hey, do we have any applications yet?
No.
Okay.
Oh, it's posted yet, is it?
Okay. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you, sir. Good job.
Oh, so we got plenty of time.
All right. Next on the agenda is the county manager's report.
With these, I'm trying to go through fairly quickly. With this, we did have a foreclosure sale that did lead an auction 43 parcels that the county acquired through foreclosure. A list of the bids are in your packet. The total bids, the total of the highest bids were $238,000, which was actually a significant amount for a number of these sales. With this, we do request that the board accept these offers. so we can proceed. Some of the parcels are also jointly owned with the city of Laurinburg. This parcel list will also be sent to them for their final release as well.
Motion approved foreclosure sale.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Commissioner McCall. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The ayes have it.
Okay. Also with this, the discussion about ARP funds and an allocation of funds that have been either approved by fully encumbered or just have been designated. Right now, on the right-hand side is the total amount that have been designated. Totals just over $4.8 million. This leaves just under $2 million that we will actually have available. We will receive the second half of the funds in June of this year, or by the end of June. May receive them in April. Some of these funds do include, obviously we have not spent $4.8 million, but they do include items such as Johnson. We did, and this was not through an encumbrance of the board, but through discussion of $500,000 just as a set aside for broadband. And also $750,000 for water interconnections. And these would be connections of our current water systems. I know we've had conversations about extending water to different areas. Those funds are not specifically in here. I know Commissioner Golston talked about one neighborhood. It was approximately 2 miles from the end of a current 6-inch line. And with that, I worked with the city of Laurinburg and their engineer. Just an estimate to run connection for a 6-inch line at 2 miles would cost an approximately $750,000 for that. Now, also with that, that does not include the taps that the homeowners would pay. That's approximately $1,000 per home. Also with that, you would need a plumber, unless you're capable of doing it yourself, to actually connect from your home to the tap, which would be by the road. And most of the time, what would be a city lot, you're talking about 50, 60 feet. But I know the area she's talking about very well. A number of these houses are, off of driveway, so they may be, several hundred yards off the road, which will just add to the cost of that. So there would still be a potentially significant cost to the homeowner, in addition to what the count cost would do. But at 700, the estimate would also be a good concept to run a 6-inch line. The size of the pipe increases the cost, but a 6-inch line at a mile costs about $375,000.
How many residents is capable of having?
With what Commissioner Golston said, there were about 40 residents who were on a petition for it.
She had a petition at her last, about 40 people this time.
Yeah, Commissioner Golston, when I talked with her sometime in the last couple of weeks, she brought that up. And I think she said there were, and I don't want to quote her, Betty, if you'll comment, that you had maybe 35 to 40 on that petition, and you thought there might be another 35 or 40 that would be on that road. Is that correct? Okay. Yeah. So there might be 75 or so on that that would want to do that.
How far does
I mean, that many families. Okay.
How far does that leave us from the Hood County line? Because you're talking about going north on Turnpike, right?
You come down Peach Orchard and go north.
It's a good way.
Can't be far to the Hood County line.
Down Turnpike, yes, you're
Isn't it-
you're still well away.
Isn't it the creek? Isn't it where the line is?
Yes.
It's going out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know I was
Way
going with
out.
that, right?
Pretty good. It's a pretty good way.
Water to Hood County. They're gonna need it. That's where I was going with that, was selling water to Hood or more or both, but I mean,
You do it with the census.
yeah, 6-inch water line.
You can.
If you want to do a mass, you're probably looking at you'd probably want a larger one.
I'm thinking out loud. That's all. I was just curious how far it was to the line.
And you said something earlier, and you said that some of these homes may be 100 yards off of the highway and running the line to their home.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's just information, and that is just, because that was discussed, I wanted to bring up that that is not.
In this.
That's not listed on here. Okay.
Currently, because the way the county water systems are set up, we have, according to the state, 5 different systems. But if we can connect across, we limit the number of systems, but we can also backfeed if there's a break. We can more easily move water from one area to another. That was the purpose of that concept.
And that $750,000 is not the same $750,000 that it would take to connect that 2 miles.
Correct.
Okay. Since it's the same dollar amount, I want to make sure we're not mistaking that. I was trying to think if there was anything that we had talked about that we had tentatively agreed upon that was not on that list. Because I'm thinking that some of the increases as a result of
Anything from the salary study is not in here at this point in time.
okay.
So some of those costs, some of the additional costs from increased staffing from the Laurel Hill Community Center, the IAJ, those additional costs, with the board's permission, that's going to be in my budget to go off and do those for the next 2 years while we can. So
This is its own budget.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But the salary study and the increase in the coming year is not going to be from these funds.
It will be.
So that if we've already approved that, it needs to be on there too. Is that correct?
Yes, I don't have a number for that at this point in time.
Okay.
Where are you going from here?
The next item the board talked about was at the retreat was bonus pay. There were some clarifications. We talked about the two group. Group 1, we did go back in, change the numbers, adding our bus drivers, adding our custodians into Group 1, where Group 1 was receiving $500, Group 2 was receiving $300 as gross amounts. That total cost was $172,000 for those. Just as a conversation piece, another option is if you give everyone $500, that is $220,000.
But that doesn't count ones that wouldn't get it, that were still on probation, basically, right? Isn't that what Susan said, or how we figured to do it?
Correct. we've not backed that
That's
out of
not gonna
that,
be a
but
ton
yeah.
of people anyway. Is that a grossed up number or is that the grossed up?
That is the gross number.
So gross it up.
If you gross it up, you're adding another 15%.
This is for just information right now.
Information or action, or if there's any other information the board specifically wants, we can get that and bring it back to you on the 26th at the retreat if you so choose.
I'll make this comment. Everyone was impacted directly, indirectly, daily, weekly, monthly by COVID in our daily lives and our working lives. And to me, it's just a challenge to say you are more impacted than somebody else. And it's kind of like we can't make everybody happy, or we can make everybody mad. It's kind of like our two choices. And I don't want to do it. I mean, I want to make everybody happy, but not at the expense of making everybody mad. So I'll just go ahead and say that I am leaning towards just a flat 500 gross to all employees. That is, I'll go ahead and just say that because I think that that's to start to differentiate becomes challenging. And we don't know how hard it was for each individual to come to work and fear the exposure of COVID. Even though they may have been at their desk, they didn't know who was going to come in and sit down across from them. So I personally don't want to say you had more exposure than somebody else. We don't know all those details about people's work experience. So that's where I am with that. That's just FYI to the rest of y'all.
I'm all in on option two.
Yeah, but the only thing I'd change on option two, because $500 good money, but I think I'd like to see it grossed up to where they actually got $500. It's only going to be 15% more. I mean, you follow what I'm saying?
got you.
Yeah. So their net bonus would be 500.
So you're talking about another
15%.
$35,000.
No, he said, well, yeah, 30,000.
35,000.
Well, you got to take out the probations and the vacants in there too, so it's going to come
And,
down.
I don't disagree with either of those comments. And we've had department heads that have commented that they would rather see their staffs get the same amount as opposed to the different amounts. And
Oh yeah.
and we've got folks that are not listed in the group one that we know were out in the field and waiting on customers. I think if you go with the first option, you're gonna not give the bonus to some people who are gonna be just as deserving as some you are. John, anybody else wishing to make a comment? But I think we can go forward with this tonight if we want to do that.
I'm fine with that.
I'd like Tim to add it, where everybody get the same amount, everybody, $500.
Get at least $500.
They get a net of
Yeah, you get a net.
Gross it up so the net amount
Gross
to
it
each
up, so
employee would
the
be
net's
$500.
and it may come out to 498 or 501, but it'll be close. But yeah.
I'd like to make it more.
Okay, are you gonna make that motion? Okay.
Tim did.
You're good. Either one of you. If you're going to make that motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ivy. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Thank you.
Also, with the opioid settlement that the county was part of a multi-action lawsuit for the last number of years. That lawsuit has been dismissed after a settlement.
Oh,
So with this, and I've only received one bankruptcy notice after this, but the Scotland County will receive, because of this, just under $2.9 million over the next 18 years.
You said you received a what notice?
One bankruptcy notice.
You're going to probably get a lot more of those.
I would imagine there's going to be some
I wouldn't spend a dime of that money till you had it in the bank, because there'll probably be a lot of those following.
The first $111,000 is, they said we should be hitting our bank sometime this week. We'll receive another 180,000 this fall. But with that, you have a breakdown of how the funds are supposed to be received over the next 18 years. And with this, of course, we have already had an opioid work group for the last number of years, though like a lot of work groups, they haven't done a whole lot in the last 2 years because not meeting. And also, there wasn't a whole lot to do anything with. But we will activate that. And right now, we'll be looking to develop alternatives and figuring out exactly what we can do and potential avenues of making this a long-term investment over the next basically 2 decades for Scotland County.
Okay.
Question. What we have to spend it on? Health?
There's a list. There.
Oh, it has a list of restrictions that you can see?
There are basically 8 buckets. And I know I'm overly simplifying this, but there are 8 buckets that are dedicated towards opioid use. Of course, treatments in there, medical expansions in there. You could also do, there are a number of programs that can be funded.
Oh, okay.
But it is required to be,
It's got strings to it.
you have to show back to opioid. This does have to be reported back to the state, and the state is now trying to figure out how that report's supposed to look.
Oh, okay. Help us out, real.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you back in session?
Okay.
But with this, I will also go off and point out the Attorney General, the state has worked very diligently on this. The Association of County Commissioners, one of the partners with this. North Carolina, and some of this is the way North Carolina is different than most other states with allocation of health and DSS. They're more under local control, but North Carolina is, I think, had the highest allocation to local communities. 85% of the settlement in North Carolina went to local governments or went to local agencies. In a lot of other states, that amount was that percentage was reversed.
Yeah.
So yeah. So we do have some very interesting options and times and decisions coming ahead. But again, this is also something, it is going to be over 18 years. So as Robbie said, we don't want to spend it before we get it.
I don't think we need to take any action on that tonight. Okay.
This is just recommendations. Another thing, and this was left off the agenda at the last work session, and remembered it after the fact when Robert Sampson Murray, our emergency management director, went off and said he actually found an ambulance that is currently being built and would be available would be available in July. He's not here right now. He said he would not be able to make it tonight. But with that, if the board is interested in expanding out to a 24/7 fourth ambulance, the ambulance that's currently in Wagram from 10 to 10 approximately. If we extend that out to 24/7, we will need an additional ambulance. Since this one is being built, if the board chooses, we can go ahead and contract for this ambulance and receive it in next budget year.
Well, I think we learned that moving the ambulance to Wagram saved lives,
Yes.
and expanding it to 24 hours will expand, will do that, continue that. Also, I think the wait time on ambulances is somewhere between 1.5 and 2 years.
Well, I was gonna ask him if he could even still get that one that's being
Yeah,
built.
I would make the motion that we move forward to purchase this ambulance. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Have a second. Any other discussion or questions?
I just, one question. You probably gonna laugh at this. Can this money come out of any of the relief money we receive?
Yes.
Okay.
Modifying your second.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. Next.
Also, I know this has been weighing on everybody's mind. The project that we started 3 years ago for substantial equivalency has finally been approved, at least in part, for substantial equivalency for classification and compensation. Basically, this allows us in health and DSS to determine what someone's job specs are without having to go to the state. So if we need to promote a position, you can do it versus we have to go up to the state for them to do it.
Okay.
That is only for information.
That was a big conversation 3 years ago. But okay. Anything else, sir?
That is all I have.
Commissioner comments. If you don't mind, folks, I'm going to go first. Well, this is a proclamation for National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, which is April 12th through 18th, 2022. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services. And whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, sheriff's deputies, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers, firefighters, sheriff's deputies, paramedics are dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Scotland County Emergency Communications Center. And whereas the public safety's telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers, sheriff deputies, firefighters, and paramedics by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the Scotland County Emergency Communications Center have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, the suppression of fires, and the treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year, now therefore be it proclaimed by Scotland County Board of Commissioners that the week of April 10th through 16th, 2022 is to be the National Public Safety Communicators Week in Scotland County in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our county and citizens safe. Proclaim this the 4th day of April, 2022. I'm going to go back. Now, therefore, it's proclaimed that the week of April 10th through 16th, which is different than what was at the top, this is the proclamation of this Board of Commissioners. Do I have a motion that we approve this proclamation? We
So
have a
moved.
motion by Commissioner Alford, a second by Commissioner McCall. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. This proclamation is approved. Thank you very much. Commissioner McFadden, any comments?
Yes. Pastor, the acting pastor of St. John Holy Church located on Waiting Room, the old Women of the World building.
Yeah.
They purchased some tables from I. Johnson School system. And since we've taken over, they hadn't had a chance to get in there and get the tables. It was calling me to me, but I said, well, I'll bring up the week. They had, like I said, they have council checks, receipts from the maintenance. This is the auction, where it's school auction, tables. I told myself, I don't know who control.
I can get in touch with Mike McGirt, but
But he said he bought through school system
Yeah.
maintenance,
It-
maintenance.
yeah, we can get them access, but hurry. Or they'll be talking with Brian Higgins, our landfill man.
Are there tables still in there? Tables?
Oh, yeah, there's tables and chairs and desks.
I know I seen, okay.
Do you know where, they, would it be better for your contact person?
With pastor members, they bought from the church. I got his number. This morning, asking what I-
Well, they need to get.
Shed some light on it.
If you would get that to the county manager tomorrow, he'll maybe get Mike McGirt to be in contact with the pastor and they can take care of that. Okay.
If it's tables that are in the gym area, they may not be there.
And that's where most of them were.
That's what I was saying. I've been touring that. I hadn't seen those tables.
Most, and there was a few in the library, but most of them were in that gym.
Ain't many over there now.
Some of them moved around or
They might have
whatever.
moved them. They might have moved them. There was some.
He may have to go over there. and
They
just
moved
look
off the
for
premises.
Yeah.
them. Clarence, he may have to just go look for them. Okay. Anything else, sir? Commissioner McCall?
I do. This is more of an elaboration of what I said earlier in the meeting about the ARP funds. It was mentioned briefly at our first budget session, and I'd like to just add it to what looks like a laundry list or a shopping list of things that we want to consider for ARP allocation. And this would be for the John Blue House. The Historic Properties Commission Board was awarded a grant. They applied for $150,000. This is a federal grant, and they received 128. And they now have to spend 12,000 on architects and engineers. So this request would be for the 22,000 that they did not receive in the initial grant proposal to make up that difference between 128 and 150. So I would just like to add that as a possible funding for the restoration and preservation of the John Blue House. That's the first thing. And then the second thing, I know that we've all have received a call, if not more than one, about the litter in Scotland County. And I'll be honest, it came to mind to me yesterday and today as I was putting out campaign signs. I've never seen it so bad. I mean, I really didn't think it could be any worse when I saw it up close and firsthand 4 years ago, but it is really, really bad. And I'm wondering, I mean, I think that we want to keep our county clean. I have no idea of the cost or the intention of the rest of you, but could some ARP money be designated to clean up the county within a challenge of keeping Scotland County clean? I'm torn between spending tax money to do something that citizens should do, but I want our county cleaned up. So I don't know how to go about that. So just add litter cleanup to the list, and the commissioners can consider it further at our April 26th meeting.
Are you,
That's all I have.
are you suggesting that we seek whether or not there's companies that do that and what it would cost?
Yeah, just what the potential would be to even pursue that. And I don't know that we want to, but we're going to continue to get calls if something's not done. And if it continues to get any worse, I can't imagine what it'll look like.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Savi?
Yeah, I do want to talk about that issue with elections that we talked about beforehand, because we needed to cover that tonight. And go ahead, you can tell it.
The elections, of course, early voting is coming up. The State Board of Elections is requesting that the election precincts actually have 2 shifts in case of workers, in case there is an exposure. And so you would have a number of workers who have to quarantine. That is not something that would specifically come to an issue of the board. But with this, Del Parker is having difficulty or has expressed difficulty in finding people who can work it, who can work this. Her husband is willing to work as during one stop, but it is currently the county's policy not to allow somebody to work in a department where they would have supervisory authority over someone else.
And I don't think he's working one side. I think he's just working on actual election day because he works for the city full time.
Yes.
So, and he's been in the last however many elections, many I can remember lately. So,
And it was just, it would take an action of the board to go off and allow him to work during the election.
I'll make the motion that we allow Rodney Parker, I'm sure is his name, to work in elections during the election only.
Not confined just to the election day.
Not confined just to the election day. Well, yeah.
During one stop at election.
Yeah, during one stop.
I know he was there a good bit 4 years ago.
Right.
During
I don't know if he was
the early voting.
Yeah. Anyway.
I don't know if he was there every day, but I just for clarification. We have a motion and a second. Commissioner McFadden was second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it.
That's it.
John.
I didn't mention this whenever Ed was talking about the zoning ordinance. There are a double wide and a single home on Bunch Road at the very end on the left. It's less than a half acre. New homes. And the lots are just terrible. I wonder if the pine trees were pushed up on one and this is less than a half an acre. And it's going to cost the person $3,000 to have them removed within 40 feet of the single wide. The double wide is on the same amount of property on a hill. And the front of the double wide or modular, I don't know which it is, it's just about 15 feet from the ledge. And I wonder if it's not addressed already. Something needs to be, it needs to be addressed when it's a small parcel of land like that. It should be livable. These two are just awful. But I'm sure our zoning ordinance didn't address. They were.
I guess we have inspections that.
Yeah.
Has to issue well, Brooke would have to say it's in a correct zone for the use, but then the inspections department actually goes out and determines, and then the health department determines whether it's suitable for.
Well, I think if anybody checked, when I used to live on Bunch Road, it was Route 1 box something else when I was there, but it's Bunch Road now. At the very end, on the left, going from this end. If you check that out, you would agree with me that we need to tighten up on that inspection.
Would have had to approve the septics. Two septics.
And
That sounds like a small lot for two.
I'm just saying, I know each is less than a half acre.
Oh, they're on each.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought you
each.
meant they
No,
were
no,
both
no,
on
no.
half.
And I'm just saying
Okay.
the lots are just awful. It was a home package deal, and the homeowner shouldn't be stuck with that.
So are you asking if our ordinance has something in it or?
Yeah, we need to, if it's not in it, it needs to be in it. They need a lot that small, less than a half acres, should be clear, of debris, such as they've cleaned up with a bulldozer, a place to put the single wide and pushed it all at the back of the lot and left it.
What, is that something that Thomas needs to go and look at to see if there's some?
I can ask him to go look at it, but immediately, I'm not aware that we would have any enforcement.
I'm talking about, and I'm suggesting we have it before you can put it there. That should be taken, it should be in our zoning.
And that's something we can go off and look at. Because I know one item that, has some conversation about is also a minimum housing standard. So I don't know if that's something that could go under zoning or if that would be better something under a minimum housing standard.
Yeah,
But that's something we can.
it need to be addressed. These two homeowners are female and they were taken.
Okay. Anything else, John?
No, that's all.
Okay. Commissioner Goldston? Commissioner Pierce is still here. You're going to hear it directly from the horse's mouth.
So I think there's some opportunities. I spoke with the speaker and he did make some of us aware that could be some more opportunities. I just leave it like that. I can't guarantee anything, but there are some opportunities. So we'll see. Okay.
That makes sense.
Can I make one statement, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Going back to what Mrs. McCall said, Hope County has hired a firm to pick up trash over there. So you said something about tax dollars. They're using, I would say, tax dollars to a firm that picks up their paper every other day, just continuously. So just let you know, they do that. If you want to contact them, Kevin, they got a firm.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Pierce.
Out there in the prison.
Okay.
Wait to get out.
I'm sorry, Representative Pierce.
They
No, I'm
don't
sorry.
be out.
We would not degrade you to that level. Any other comments by any commissioners? Hearing none. I have a motion to recess until 26th. Yep. Is that the correct date?
10 to 2. 10 to 2 on the 26th.
Okay.
It's on my calendar. Somebody put it on there. So,
All right, we do have a motion to recess till the 26th.
so moved.
So moved by Mr. Ivy, second by Commissioner McCall. Any further discussion?
Is that two, from 10 to 2? What time?
We will continue with this until the 26th at 2 o'clock,
2
10
o'clock.
o'clock, 10 o'clock. How long?
It will not last until 2.
Okay, 10 o'clock.
Until 2, 10 o'clock. Yeah, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
Nay.
We are in recess. Thank you. Those of you who stuck with us for the 2 hours and 6 minutes, thank you very much for being here. Ms. Pope, thank you for being here.
I'll just
I'll
it's on the
see you
calendar
for
somewhere.
somewhere.
Hey, I got to talk to you about that. But I'll call you tomorrow.
I didn't need it a couple of months. You gonna get a nice 2 days at Myrtle Beach
I think that's.
in June.
I ain't worried about that. But I mean, I need to know what they
I
do.
do.
I mean,
Well, nothing to sit on the board and